Hey guys, Mrs. Traver here. We're going to work through our notes on slope-intercept form. The most recent one that we looked at was slope. That is our rise over run. And then this is the first of three different formats of linear equations. So this first one is the one that we are probably most familiar with, y equals mx plus b. The m stands for our slope and the b stands for our y-intercept. So whenever we have an equation that's all set, there will be a number in this spot and there'll be a number in this spot, and our x and our y will stay the same. Those ones are going to be constants. Or I shouldn't say constants, variables. But let's start off. I'm going to give us a few examples to work with where I give you the equation and then we'll find our slope and our y-intercept. All right, so here's given the equation, like I said, find slope and intercept. If I had y equals 3/4 x minus 5, our m is always the one that is right with the x. It's the coefficient on it. So our slope is 3/4. And our b is the stationary number that's kind of hanging out. So that is b equals -5. The next one, our m is again right out front of the x. So m equals 5. And b equals -2 on that one. The third one's a little bit different. It is the equation y equals 6. Notice I could have rewritten this as y equals 0x plus 6. And then it's a little bit more obvious to see that our slope is 0 and our b is 6. This line y equals 6 is actually going to be a horizontal line that goes this way. So its slope is 0 anyway. So that one's all set. Let's do the next type. That's going to be given the slope and the intercept, writing the equation. All right, so let's see with our first one here, we've got m equals 1/2 and b equals 2. I just need to plug the m into our m spot and the b into our b spot. So pretty simply here, we are at y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Because this 2 is positive, I put a plus in. On my next one, I've got y equals -5x plus 0, which I don't even need to write the plus 0, so we'll leave it right there. Next, let's graph. All right, so graphing from slope-intercept form, I gave us the equation y equals x plus 3 and plotted some points here, or plotted a coordinate plane here with some hash marks. Try to make them as equally spread apart as you can, but we only need a few. So here's the deal. On these guys, the very first step we use is to graph b. And as a reminder, b is the y-intercept. That means it's going to go through the y-axis. So anything that goes through the y-axis, its x term is 0. And it went up or down b. So either went up b amount or down b amount. So this is the point 0, comma b. Let's do that first. So our b is 3. That means we have a point at 0, 3 right here. After that, we can use slope by thinking of it as rise over run to graph our next point. So our slope is whatever is out front of the x. Right now, there is an invisible number out front of the x. It would be a 1. So our slope here is 1. If it doesn't look like a fraction, think of it as a fraction by putting 1 under it. So our m here is 1 over 1. So up 1 over 1. Or I could also go down 1, left 1. So we've got enough to make a line at that point. Make sure you put arrows on each side. Lines go on and on forever in both sides. If you don't put arrows, then you're now looking at a line segment, or if you put one arrow, you're looking at a ray. So make sure you put arrows on each side and extend it to the perimeter of your coordinate plane. Let's do another one. All right, here's my next one. I've got y equals -2x plus 1. Our first step is to graph the point 0, comma b. So let's see, my b is at 1, so that's the point 1 or 0, 1. And then my slope here is -2. So I'll think of it as -2 over 1. So that means go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. You can do it as many times as you want. The more that you do it, the more points that you graph, the better your line will be. So there we go. Notice too, stepping back, thinking about slope from last section, our slope is 1, it is positive, and it's going up, so that looks good. Our slope here is negative, and it's going down, and it's a little bit steeper than the first. So those look reasonable to us. Let's go the other way around. I'll show you a graph, and then we'll find the equation from it. So I'm going to start off with the graph in the next one. All right, let's see here. So we've got this graph given to us. Let's first find, it doesn't really matter which order we go, but we need an m and a b. So our m, let's see if we count it out, it is a height of 1, 2, 3. So rise 3, run 2. So our slope is 3/2, and it's positive. And our intercept was down here at -2, so -2. All right, we got 3 more examples, then we'll be all set. All right, the next one, we're going to look at given different things on each one of these, and each one we're going to look at writing it in slope-intercept form. So given a slope and a point. So if I was given m equals 2, and the line goes through the point 1, 5, and I'd like to write it in slope-intercept form, the way that I go about these kind is to first think of our goal. So start with the end in mind. So y equals mx plus b is how I'd like it to look at the end. And let's see what we already have and then what we need. We have m, so I can check that off my list. And we have x and y. But I don't know what b is yet. So let's plug everything we do have in and then solve for b. So y is 5, m is 2, x is 1, and I don't know b. We can then solve to get b. 2 times 1 is 2, and subtract it from both sides. So I've got 3 equals b. Now I have everything I need. So I've got b, I've got m. I can write my answer now. Y equals 2x plus 3. Let's do another one. All right, the next one, given our intercept and a point, we're going to write it in slope-intercept form. So given our intercept, like b equals 6, and a point, like the point 5, -2, let's write it in slope-intercept form. So again, let's start with the end in mind. I know I want to end up with y equals mx plus b. Let's see what we already have and what we need. We have b, x, and y. We have b, x, and y, and I don't have m. So let's plug in and solve for m. So y we're using is -2. M is 5. Oh, I'm so sorry. M is not 5. We don't know m. We just said that. M we don't know yet. X is 5. There we go. Plus b, which they told us is 6. So just plugging everything in where it belongs. Let's subtract 6 from both sides here. So -8 equals 5m. Can divide both sides by 5. So m equals -8/5. We can leave it right like that as a fraction. It's best to leave it as an improper fraction so that the person who's looking at it can see the rise and the run. But here I have my m and I have my b, so I'm good to finish out. Y equals -8/5 x plus 6. All right, one more and we'll round it out. All right, last one. Given 2 points, write in slope-intercept form. So let's see. If I were given the point 3, -2, and the point 1, -3, if I start with the end in mind again, now I'm in a little bit different situation. I have 2 choices for x, y, so I have them, but I don't have my slope or my intercept. So what I'll need to do is actually use these 2 points and go find my slope by using the formula, and then I'll be able to plug in and get my b. So this one's an extra step here. So let's first find the slope of these 2. Freeze yours and or pause yours and see if you can catch me and check your slope with mine. For slope, I have 1/2, so I did -3 minus -2, and 1 minus 3. Got -1 over -2, and then simplified the 2 negatives become a positive. Now I can checklist off that we do have slope. So now we're in the same situation that we were at for our first example at the top of this page, where we have slope, we have a point, we actually have 2 points, and we need to find our b. So let's plug those guys in and then check. All right, let's see. I plugged in everything. I used the first point. You could have also used the second. It doesn't really matter. This is 3/2, which is 1.5. So let's subtract 1.5 from both sides. And we've got -3.5 for our b. So my final answer here is y equals 1/2 x minus 3.5. So there's my final answer there. Hopefully this works out for you guys and you have no more questions. We're going to go through and do point slope form next.